You know how we're frequently told that certain political parties or even a side of the political spectrum is either better or worse for the economy or better or worse for being fiscally responsible? Have you ever thought to check if that's actually true? Or if it's stigma that's associated with political ideologies? So I decided to look this up. I looked at a few different studies, and just note that these measure things a little differently, and you could probably have a nuanced discussion about all of this, I'm sure. But I think this is good enough to get the general idea across. So, this study reported that there is an absence of evidence to suggest that there are partisan changes in federal spending and/or taxation. This study also reported that following the Great Depression, there is no longer a distinction between the outcomes arising under left versus right-leaning parties in Canada at the federal level. I also decided to look at this one. This one even notes itself how public policy debates are often colored by ideological preconceptions, and so this one looks at who spends more, left or right. This study looked at this at the federal level in Canada, the provincial level in Quebec, and the federal level in the United States. They found that there is no systemic relation for any of the three governments that they looked at between the left-wing or right-wing ideologies of the parties in power and the evolution of public spending as a share of GDP. This study looked at partisan politics in Canada at the provincial level. So because this is provincial, they looked at this from a right, center, or left partisanship perspective, where the right-wing governments are conservative governments, center governments are liberal governments, and left governments are the NDP and the PQ in Quebec. In this study, they found that there were no significant differences between fiscal strategies of conservative and center governments. They found that there were some differences between the left-wing parties and conservative parties, but they also found that those differences disappeared after 2003. In other words, there isn't a relationship there anymore. So I'm not an economist or anything, and I'm sure you could have a nuanced discussion about these things, but the point I want to bring up is how much of what we are told about political parties is actually true, and how much of it is due to stigma. How much of it is due to political posturing. All political parties try to obtain power, right? So I think it's important to ask ourselves, if studies show that there is no real relationship there, who really benefits from us believing that? I don't think that it's any of us, to be honest. It's literally just the politicians that benefit from that.